Okay, done. Ellen, I've completed my Tears of the Kingdom notes, the bare minimum required to cover everything I want to discuss in the show of the weekend on it. So if we can just crack through these bullet points I've prepared, we should be good. Do you want a little preview?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll scroll to the bottom.
Oh wow, you're really scrolling for a long time there. This is quite a lot.
That bit will be good.
Yeah.
When we talk about that.
Yeah.
Should be about 7 p.m. when we get to, if we crack on now.
Yeah. Is there any way that we could like distill this into like a shorter, like 10, 20-minute discussion video maybe, rather than like a full-length video essay?
Show of the weekend, show of the weekend, show of the weekend, show of the weekend, show of the weekend. All right, fine, we'll do the short version.
Good, thanks, because I need the short version. Because I'm short.
No, I got it.
Good.
I've played Tears of the Kingdom. Yes, I'm super excited.
And I'm super jealous.
And as well you should be. It was a lot of fun. And I want to talk about the feeling that I came away from, apart from a general sort of elation, which is that I think that this game is broken, but like in a very, very good way. Let me explain. I went to a little Nintendo preview of this game. It was a limited capture experience, if you like.
Yes.
I wasn't allowed to play it for very long, and the part of the game that I was playing was very, very sort of limited in scope. I think they tried to set it up so it was like a little microcosm of what general gameplay will be like. So there was, an enemy encampment that you could approach in any way you wanted to, and I also got to do some gameplay up in the sky region and kind of traversing that however I wanted to. So the idea was to kind of be flexible and free and do whatever you wanted, but I wasn't allowed to like run off and do anything. And so there's loads of stuff I don't know. I only got a few questions answered. If you know what I mean.
You kind of decide to wander off in the wrong direction, they were like, no. Or was it?
Yeah. Well, yes, but like a lot stricter.
No.
Yeah, like if I sort of moved like I was going to move off in the wrong direction, it was like, make good choices, Luke. Okay. My gosh, imagine the pressure I felt to like get good capture and think of some like clever things to do.
In some way, when this thing came in, I was like, you do it. That's too much pressure for me.
Here's a game that is an incredible physics sandbox. You have about half an hour to come up with the coolest ass stuff you ever did see on YouTube. Go. Yeah, in a room full of your peers who are all trying to do cooler stuff. I'm like, oh my god. So the overwhelming feeling that I came away with was that this is not the Breath of the Wild sequel that I was expecting. At all. I was really surprised. So think about Breath of the Wild. Remember how it was such a massive departure for the Zelda series? And like, that's the thing of Breath of the Wild, right? It was just a complete handbrake turn.
Yeah, big reset.
Yeah, big reset. Like a big move away from the established Zelda formula into something that was way more free and open. So unless I've misread the sort of vibe of the internet, I don't think I have, I feel like what people were asking for, maybe expecting, was that they would start to put Zelda things back in to the Breath of the Wild sequel. So you see people asking, where's the hook shot? Maybe like some more unbreakable weapons, like you used to get in the Zelda games. Obviously the breakable weapons was a controversial addition in Breath of the Wild that not everyone enjoyed. Dungeons, big proper dungeons like you used to get in Zelda games. Can we have them back? And what Nintendo's done instead is really double down on the new stuff.
No, we like the new things
we like
you've done.
Yeah.
You're not taking it. No.
Yeah. Is the hook shot in Breath of the Wild 2? Are there big dungeons? I don't know, because again, I've only got to play this like tiny little piece of it and they're guarding that information very, very carefully. But what I do know for sure is that Nintendo has doubled down on the stuff that was new in Breath of the Wild. So Breath of the Wild was this big open sandbox game that invited you to approach it in any order you wanted, however you wanted to do that, with a whole load of toys at your disposal. So players took those tools, which were the bombs, magnesis, cryonis
Yeah.
and stasis.
Stasis, yeah.
They took these tools and broke the game with them, basically. Like, if you go on YouTube now, you'll still see a lot of videos coming out, even now, that are like, here are a bunch of new things you didn't know you could do in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
At the core of the game is that element of, I'm going to try this, I wonder if this will work, and then it does. Or it doesn't work, but it's really funny.
Funny, yeah.
And that is at the core of the Breath of the Wild experience. And that is the thing that Nintendo has doubled down on for like big time. So with fusing objects to weapons, fusing objects to arrows, attaching objects to other objects, and some of those things are rockets and flamethrowers, the point that I want to get across is that the potential for, and I wish I had a better phrase for this, but I don't, dick around.
I was going to say chaos, but I think that's better.
Chaos is maybe, yeah.
No, I like
Okay, yeah. Think of the original things you could do in Breath of the Wild. Try and imagine it like it's a grid where you've got you've got these 4 powers along the top and then the 4 powers along the bottom and then somewhere in the mix in this sort of Excel spreadsheet of like weird stuff you can do, like the fact that, you know, the different types of weather, like the different things that enemies do, the behavior of chickens, you know? And now think about how much bigger that is with the fact that, like, you can fuse so many different items to just an arrow and they all have this odd, like, different behavior.
Yeah.
And the ability to, like, combine, basically, like, this spreadsheet is just, like, zooming out in my mind and just getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And that is just going to translate into, like, maybe sort of 25 years of YouTube videos, I think, of, like, it'll be like, we'll all be old people, we'll all be elderly, be like, here's 5 new things you didn't know you could do in Tears of the Kingdom. Did you know that if you fuse a stake to the underside of a hot air balloon, a keys will chase it, and then you freeze the keys, and that kills Ganondorf. Based on my brief time with the game, that when it's released, after maybe like 5 days, you'll start to see like these truly like broken, game-breaking exploits and combinations of powers appearing.
I'm very excited for not only that, but like how people will use that stuff to speed run the game.
Exactly. Yeah. This game is going to be a speedrunner's delight.
I'm just going to watch it like...
The meta for this game, the conversations around this game online are going to be so huge, are going to be so fun and so interesting, and it's going to have that feeling that games that have this sort of bonkers flexibility, like Breath of the Wild, like Elden Ring, had, and it's going to be, I think it's going to be really fun. I'm really looking forward to playing Tears of the Kingdom, but more than that, I'm looking forward to just like being on YouTube, like looking at the subreddit and just being like, wow, that's a weird thing I didn't know you can do. That completely breaks the game open. And I think it's cool that Nintendo has chosen to double down on that aspect of it.
Yeah.
Like, that was my first thought when I saw the Tears of the Kingdom trailer, and you see that, like, okay, you can build a big car and, like, drive it over stuff. I'm like, well, is that not going to remove any challenge from, you know, the game?
Yeah.
And Nintendo's like, yes. Here's 500 ways you can remove any challenge from the game.
Yeah.
And the game is thinking of those things and actually building those things.
It's an interesting form of accessibility, I suppose, as well. Like, opening the game up to new people who would be like, I'm too scared to go fight these things, but I'll make a huge fortress and heal it to
I'll simply tank around the game in a sort of Fortress of Doom. Yeah. You know, and I like it. It's like Breath of the Wild sort of cracked the Zelda formula wide open, and now Nintendo's like jumping up and down on the little pieces. It's like, we're not doing a Zelda game. This is a whole new kind of game, but we think it's really fun. And again, with the caveat that I've only played a tiny bit, I had a huge amount of fun, and I can't wait to sort of just like be in this sandbox.
For those of you watching, John's just off the side, off camera, just being like,
trembling with excitement. Yeah.
Tears of the Kingdom, I think, is going to have people being like, it's going to have their own Fast and Furious kind of vibes, where you like make your own car and you like people will judge how cool the cars are.
Yeah.
You know, you'll enter your car into a competition online and be like, what about this one? Blah, blah, blah.
It's like building machines. You know,
yeah, what's
like
the coolest? I mean,
what's the weirdest Rube Goldberg machine that you've come up with for like feeding a bokoblin into like a big sort of marble run mincer?
One that just like drives over them, just
build a that's what we're all working towards, isn't it?
Bin.
The bakob bin. They're giving us not the Zelda game that we asked for, but
the Zelda game that we will be grateful
the
for.
Zelda, but actually the Zelda game.
We will
actually
be quite. This is actually fun. Yeah,
this looks fun as heck.
I think like out of all the recent like big open world game titles, Breath of the Wild has been one of the best, like formula wise, in terms of like. When I was running around, nothing felt like a chore. It felt like a joy to explore the world. And I think adding these extra fun new tools will just add to that.
Yeah, definitely.
And
sure.
I'm very, very excited to see all the new bits up in the sky.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think, like, I don't want to sound too much like a sort of hopelessly devoted fanboy or anything, but I think Nintendo as a developer and publisher has earned a certain amount of trust in terms of like their approach to fun and their approach to game design. There's something that I just find appealing in what seems to be Nintendo's willingness to make a game that is broken in this good way, that is deliberately going even further off of the beaten path of like what an established, good, solid but predictable Zelda game is like, you know, and just to be kind of like, no, we're going to release something that is just a physics sandbox now, and the goal is to come up with the weirdest way to kill Ganondorf in 30 seconds and put it on YouTube, and that's the meta. I'm not sure you really need to play Tears of the Kingdom, because all the best stuff is going to be like, you know, like the best stuff I've seen in Breath of the Wild was not in my save, you know. It's like, you know, it's sort of shared online, and so they're doubling down on what made Breath of the Wild unique, and I feel like it's the right decision. So yeah, I cannot wait. The very, very brief preview that I took part in, I didn't really get to see what any other members of the media were doing in that time, but we all came out of it with very different experiences, and like everyone was coming out really enthusiastically sharing the different things they'd done, and be like, oh, I was like trying to put like a bomb on a shield, and like, oh, I didn't realise you could do that, and it was like, oh, okay. I was like, oh, so if you put like wheels on this under this, if it was this shield, it actually like the wheels still work when you do, you know, and like you get the vibe, right, without me going in, like into
the details and
and either Nintendo have a real hit on their hands, or they are diabolical geniuses who have done a great job of taking a bad game and setting up a really fun, pretty event for it. I hope you haven't.
I mean, that has happened to us before. We've been like, oh, this looks great, and then the final game comes out, we're like, this isn't what it looked like. Yeah.
Thank you for watching this TED Talk of mine about Tears of the Kingdom. I can't believe how soon it is. It's just,
I know.
It's really snuck up on us.
I know. Yeah. Well, if you want to watch a more in-depth video about silly things that you can do in Tears of the Kingdom, like as in fun silly things, not like silly things.
No, silly
things.
If you want to see the weirdest stuff that I managed to come up with in a tiny, tiny amount of time. Then that's what that video is.
There's another in-depth video about those things. But Luke, thank you so much for sharing this precious information.
Thank you.
Precious knowledge.
It's been my pleasure.
Of Zelda.
Yeah.
And if you want to see more of that, we'll be making more Zelda content in future. I can pretty much guarantee that. So do be sure to subscribe. If you want to go one step further, we have a Patreon, the OX Supporters Club. You can join the Discord, which we'll probably have to talk a lot about Zelda there.
There will certainly be a Tears of the Kingdom channel in the Discord.
Yes, we're probably going to make one of those.
Once it comes out,
and,
which would be great.
Yeah, and hit that thumbs up button because it helps. It really does. Thank you, Luke. And now, if you don't mind me, I'm going to go find a shield and stick a keg of explosives to it.
Oh, cool. All right, it really is something that you should not...
Oh, it didn't work!
It blew up. Ellen blew up, I'm sorry.